This guy, I think he just started DJing, and so it's been cool to see like him picking up a bunch of like singles. I don't even want to know how much money.
It's an expensive rabbit hole.
Do you have a separate DJ name?
No. People have like messed with me about coming up, but I think I'm too old for a DJ name.
Hey, this is Eric Burton and Adrian Quesada of Black Pumas, and this is Billboard News.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Karp, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today with this dynamic duo that has just scored their 7th Grammy nomination, Black Pumas.
They say I'm like no other, all my favorite colors, shoot me down and break my heart. It's the black moon rising and take your time, little angel.
Welcome to New York. What brings you here from your sunny hometown of Austin, Texas?
We are performing at Radio City Music Hall, the iconic Radio City Music Hall on Friday. So just thrilled to be here. It's been a while since we played in New York, and the magnitude of playing a place like that is kind of special.
What can fans expect at that show?
The new project. A lot of the new projects, they can expect a more developed and evolved unit. We've had a lot of fun making the music, and I think that one of our strongest qualities as a band is the live performative. And I think this time, in conclusion, we've had a lot of fun coming together to curate the show, you know, like the second chapter of what it means to be a Black Puma and or a part of the Puma Pack. So it's exciting. It's a new thing.
Yeah. And what is special about a Black Pumas performance?
I think like most of us are, you know, individuals, and each person on stage really brings, you know, just high level of passion.
You know, we've had the same consistent live band for at least a couple of years. The pandemic year, kind of a lost year in there, but I mean, maybe a few years for sure, almost since the very beginning. So we've just grown as a unit, as a family, and like definitely come together and become this like living, breathing organism, which is one of my favorite things. You know, Eric will sometimes go out into the crowd and turn it into a church, you know, electric church, as he says, for half an hour and come back and whatnot. But the band just all kind of moves as like a unit. But like he said, everybody has their own presence and personality on stage.
This year is shaping up to be another big year for you guys. You absolutely exploded onto the scene in 2020 when you were nominated for 3 Grammys, 2 of the big ones, Record of the Year and Album of the Year. Where were you when you heard the news that you were nominated?
We must have been in UK. Yeah, that was the first time. We were leaving a radio station in the UK, preparing for a show that evening. And I remember we probably shared, you know, an array of different emotions. I mean, there were some tears. It's just a high level of gratitude for that kind of acknowledgement. It was like just really wild and a lot to take on, even for, you know, someone, I think, you know, I know I'm speaking for Adrian, but someone who's been in the industry for over 20 years. I mean, it was new for all of us. No one had ever been there in that way to that magnitude.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, I mean, for me especially, it was just wild. I feel like I'm still processing it. But at the same time, I feel like while it was really amazing, there is a sense of belonging and home that I feel that we all get out of being welcomed into the conversation as musicians. We really love what we do.
Yeah. And so this year you guys are up for Best Rock Performance. Were you surprised by that Grammy nomination?
Yeah, it's always a surprise. You know, it's kind of like it's hard to say that any of them were like really totally expected or anything like that. So yeah, a bit surprised for sure.
So now you have 7 noms. Do you think this is the year that you'll get your first win?
I know this might feel cliche to most, but it's just true. I feel like just being acknowledged, just being welcomed into the conglomerate, you know, feels like a win within itself. So yeah, I feel like we're winning, and you know what? You know, who knows?
Right.
I was, to be honest, I was really surprised at the traction, the amount of traction and the amount of, desire for that specific song. You never really know which one people are going to react to. And so when we're done recording it, it's really out of our hands. So it's kind of hard to telegraph what people are going to do. It's really none of our business. But
Can you tell me about the process for writing More Than a Love Song?
'Cause life is more than a love song. It's more than a fantasy.
The process behind that song is very much reflective of how we initiated our collaboration, where Adrian would send me music and I would top line a song over his situation. So I'll give it away here.
Yeah, it started as close enough to the same batch of songs from the first album. The song just kind of took on a life of its own. Eric started to do kind of a thing at the end with the audience, and it just morphed into this whole other thing. And that was one thing that was the difference between the first album and this album, is that now we're like a fairly seasoned live band. So you get to almost like see what works and what people are reacting to in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when we made the first album, it like was recorded and we had no idea what people were gonna like. What are they gonna sing back? Where are they gonna like dance? Where are they gonna cry? Blah blah. Now you're on tour for years, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, like it's a little bit of like an advantage where you're like, I know when they react to this, and I know when they're gonna like hold their cell phone lighters up. So the song sort of evolved after doing that, and I think we had that advantage on the whole album. Really, is like knowing a little bit of like our own strengths, and seeing how people like react to it,
Right. But the first album included a lot of live takes, right?
Yeah, it was mostly recorded pretty live.
And what about this latest album?
This one at its core has a lot of live performances, but we really use the studios as an instrument more. Like we really weren't so precious about like it has to be live. It was really like about getting the best sonic qualities that bring out the best in the songs,
How has all of this Grammy recognition impacted your careers?
I've gone through an array of feelings and emotion regarding our projection as a unit. Colors has 200 million views, and I must be like something really special. But then I sit with myself about like some of what we've been able to accomplish as a unit, and start to fall into having more gratitude, that much more, because some of these songs I've recorded before and it wasn't the right time, it wasn't presented the right way, and it just worked this time. I'm thankful for the simple fact that we are now being set up as artists who are worthy to be acknowledged. With that, in conclusion, man, I gotta like give my friend here, Adrian, like his flowers, because I think Colors was our biggest song on the last album, and without his expertise behind some of the sonic quality value, I was singing that song on the street and, could hardly get a Subway sandwich. I'm super grateful, and I see like really big things coming out of both of us moving forward as a unit and, on our own as well.
All my favorite colors, yes ma'am. All my sisters and my brothers.
What was it like performing Colors at the Grammys in 2021?
Oh, it was amazing. It was really,
It's kind of bizarre.
Kind of bizarre because it was a pandemic year, so there was no audience.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like one of those things where wasn't exactly how we imagined it happening. It's kind of like you almost have to watch it back on TV to be like, oh yeah, this is super epic and amazing. But it was great. It was an honor. It was an honor to be there. For
Yeah.
Sure.
Eric, I read that you went on a silent meditation retreat at the end of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you as an artist and for your creative process, and why did you decide to do that?
Vipassana is the meditation retreat. It's a 10-day retreat, and it's really lovely, and it has a really amazing way of recentering, regrounding, and realigning self with, our relationship with our subconscious mind. Starting the Black Pumas, it's like my first band. We released Colors, the live performance, and it goes crazy. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of wild. And I've never been the kind of person to pay too much attention to how people are responding, how many people are buying the album, like how many views do I have now? Like I don't really have that much energy to really pay attention to how we're being perceived all the time.
Yeah.
That for how quickly, we were gaining traction, and how, for how much work we were doing, I felt like in some ways I really needed to get get back to the ground again. You know, we're thankful to be here. You know, it means the world to be able to give people something special, something that moves them. And so, yeah, that's why I went.
The vinyl business has been really healthy lately, and vinyl sales, I think, we're up 14% over the past year. How important is vinyl for you guys in terms of your business? I noticed you have a lot of different variations of your latest album, Chronicles of a Diamond. Can you talk about your vinyl strategy?
I think that our strategy really comes from the heart of the music. Like, the heart of our presentation is very much reflective of when, you know, vinyls were like the big thing. I love to be able to touch things and push things. Like, we're musicians.
Yeah.
So, you know, outside of the personalized aspect that comes with that, it's going up because people are really looking for something that feels tangible again, something that feels real.
The tactile thing is a great point, what he's saying. Like, I think we're both very visual people, but seeing a cover on, like, you know, Spotify on a thumbnail image versus like holding a record, it's just like so cool, you know, to like see the artwork and pictures in the studio and whatnot. And I'm glad that that's coming back.
Mrs. Postman, she's thick up and blue blood and a message from her spirits.
What else do you guys have coming up this year that you're excited about? What can fans look forward to?
I think that they could look forward to two individuals who are very dedicated to the craft to the degree that we're making things all the time. I think that people can expect more and more evolution in our development as songwriters and curators. And yeah, I'm looking forward to helping people to really get to know who we are individually. I think we had a really great springboard with the first album, and obviously people are hearing some, you know, pretty massive changes in the feel and the vibe, the character, the personality behind the music, and I only see it, you know, continuing to go down like such a path.
Well, I can't wait to hear your next album, and it was great to have you in. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
very much.